What if the thing you've been trying to fix isn't the thing? What if the exhaustion, the restlessness, the sense that something is slightly off, what if none of that is pointing to what you think it is? You've been circling it, renaming it, bringing in people to help you solve it, and still it sits there, unnamed, unmoved. That's not a strategy problem. That's not an operational problem. That's the real one. I want to tell you about a client who came to me through a referral. His friend sent him, said, "Go talk to her. She'll listen." That's how he arrived. Not with a brief, not with an agenda, just with something he hadn't been able to say out loud to anyone in his world. He'd been on a call with a long-term client, a $10,000 a month contract up for renewal. And somewhere in the middle of that conversation, he said no. He didn't plan it, didn't strategize it, he just reacted, said no, ended the call, and hung up. And then he walked to the window and stood there thinking, what the hell did I just do? $10,000 a month. A client who had been with him for years. Gone. Because something in him reacted before his mind could catch up. And now he was circling and questioning everything. Feeling like he didn't know what he was doing anymore. In the business, in the decisions, in himself. Here's what I understood. He couldn't see yet. He hadn't made a bad decision. He'd made a decision from the wrong place, running on fumes. Nervous system quietly overloaded, overriding the instinct that was trying to protect him, not realizing that the instinct and the override were happening at the same time. Because burnout you can treat. Burnout has a protocol: rest, recover, return. But this, you can rest for a month and come back to the exact same feeling. Because the problem isn't your energy, it's the direction you've been pouring it into. When he got to me, I didn't go to the contract. I said, "Tell me about your business." And I listened. Not for the facts, for what was underneath the facts. The nerves, the pauses, the things he said, and the things he almost said. We talked more than once. And what happened over those conversations was simple and not simple at all. He had a place where he could say the things he'd been carrying without it costing him something. No team to manage around it, no partners to protect, no reputation on the line, just the room and the conversation. And in that room, over those calls, something started to shift. Not because I gave him a strategy, because he finally started telling the truth, out loud, to someone who was actually listening. A few weeks later, he called me to say the same company had come back. And at this time, a $25,000 a month, with terms that worked for both sides, the deal changed because he did. He already had the answer. He just needed somewhere safe enough to hear himself say it. I've spent a long time sitting across from people who are very good at what they do. And I noticed something early on. The problem they came in with was almost never the problem we ended up working on. They'd name something safe, something with a solution attached. And I'd listen. And then I'd listen a little longer. And eventually, the real thing would surface. It wasn't until I stopped, really stopped, that I understood what I'd been doing. I had been answering questions nobody was actually asking, including my own. The real problem doesn't announce itself. It doesn't come with a label or a line item. It shows up as tension you can't locate, a decision that keeps stalling, or a version of yourself that you're quietly tired of performing. I know that now. I had to learn it the hard way. The problem you can't name is usually the real one. And you already know that because you've been trying to name it. You're not burned out. You know that's not it. You've been burned out before. This is different. This is something quieter, something that doesn't yet have a name. You're not falling apart. That's not what this is. You're functioning, deciding, delivering. But if you look closely at some of those decisions, really look, you'll notice something. Some of them weren't really yours, not because someone else made them, because you made them from a place you didn't choose. Reactive, tired, protecting something you haven't examined in a while. Saying no when you meant to say not yet. Saying yes when everything in you was already pulling back. And you moved on because that's what you do. Here's what makes this particular problem so hard to solve. You said yes to everything at the start because you had to. And somewhere along the way, yes became the only answer you knew. Not because you're incapable, because you've been carrying something alone. And some things were never meant to be carried that way. The problem you can't name doesn't need more analysis. It doesn't need another strategy session or a better framework. It needs a room, a real conversation. Someone who is actually listening, not to fix it, not to manage around it, but to help you hear yourself say the thing you haven't been able to say anywhere else. That's where the naming begins, and a problem that has nowhere to go doesn't get solved. It gets heavier. It starts showing up in the decisions you make at the wrong moment, in the reactions you can't quite explain afterward, in the contracts you renew on autopilot, in the opportunities you almost walk away from, or do walk away from, before you've had a chance to think clearly. So eventually you say something to someone, and they mean well, they genuinely do, but what comes back is strategy, frameworks, a process for transitioning difficult clients, a pricing model, a boundary setting exercise, and you listen. Because what else do you do? And the advice lands flat. Not because it's wrong, because it's answering a question you weren't actually asking. This isn't a strategy problem. It never was. They get solved in a room where someone is finally listening to the right question. What I know is this: the problem you can't name is usually the real one. Not because you lack the intelligence to identify it, but because naming it means accepting that you've already moved past something. And that has consequences, and that takes courage. The business you're building, the one that actually fits who you've become, cannot be built on top of what you've outgrown. It has to be built instead of it. That's not a comfortable sentence, but it's an honest one. In my experience, the leaders who are willing to sit with that, who stop reaching for the operational fix and start asking the harder question, those are the ones who stop feeling the weight. Not because the problem disappeared, because they finally named it. I want to leave you with two things. The first is from Max Dupree, a man who spent his life studying what it means to lead well. We cannot become what we need to be by remaining what we are. And the second is something I learned the hard way, through my own practice, my own renewals, my own delayed introductions. The next version of you is already waiting. It's the current contracts that keep delaying the introduction. Sit with those. And when you're ready, not when it's convenient, not when the timing is perfect, ask yourself what you've been renewing that you already know you've outgrown. That's where the real work begins. And if something in this conversation stayed with you, don't rush to resolve it. Sit with it. Sometimes clarity arrives the moment we stop forcing an answer. And if the problem needs a room of its own, you'll find the next step below. Until next time, this has been The Quiet Directive with Sylvia Mason. Find it where you listen.